Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to talk about the Cavalry in Battlefield 1, possibly one of the coolest new additions to the Battlefield franchise. Sure, we've had things like motorcycles, dirt bikes, fast-moving, single-seater and two-seater vehicles, but the horse really has taken things to a new level. Now the first thing I want to talk about that is almost certainly not apparent when you first start playing the game, and you might have not even figured this out by now, is that when you spawn on a horse from the deployment menu, you will actually spawn as an elite cavalry unit. That means if you get off the horse, you retain your same cavalry loadout, and you also have a lot of extra health, pretty much on par with the other hero classes in the game, like the flamethrower unit and the sentry with the machine gun. Now, if you happen to shoot somebody on a horse, or you just find one on the battlefield and you get on the horse, you will have the cavalry weapons when you're riding around, but you will not have the extra health of the elite cavalry unit. Also, if you get off the horse, you're going to have your standard weapon loadout from whatever class you're playing. Now, this is really important information because not only does it help to know how much health you have and how much damage you can take, but if you get off of the horse and play around as the elite cavalry unit, you retain ammo packs, health packs, anti-vehicle grenades, a bolt-action rifle, and a sidearm pistol. You're incredibly good. In fact, I would say this unit is pretty overpowered, and one of the things that makes it so powerful is the fact that it looks for the most part like any other soldier on the battlefield. So a lot of people engage you expecting to be able to take you down with one magazine from a gun, and all of a sudden it doesn't, and they kind of freak out and don't really understand why they haven't killed you. It certainly happened to me before I understood that there was elite cavalry units. I was sniping this guy and he was only taking 15 damage per shot from my bolt action rifle, which was way less than it should have been, and then he turned around and killed me, and I was like, what the heck just happened there? Now I totally understand. I was shooting at an elite cavalry unit, not knowing it. Now the thing that makes this class so much more powerful compared to the other hero classes is that you can self-heal. So basically you can pop down your own med pack, heal yourself up full, and you can also rearm yourself, which includes a light anti-vehicle grenade. So you can basically replenish your grenades, replenish your ammo, replenish your health whenever the heck you want. However, you are still very vulnerable to headshots. So if you find yourself going up against an elite cavalry, aim for the head or you're probably not going to kill him. It's kind of the only way to try and win that firefight, as long as the player you're going up against is somewhat competent. However, if you find yourself fighting a somewhat novice elite cavalry player, well, they do have a bolt action rifle that's somewhat difficult to use and a pistol for a sidearm, so you can purely out damage them with, say, a machine gun or an SMG if you know what you're doing and your aim is good. Now, while you're on horseback, you have the ability to drop ammo and health off for teammates as you ride past them. You can also drop it on the ground and walk over it yourself to self-heal. You can also get off of your horse and just apply the health pack and ammo pack to yourself as needed. One cool thing that you can do is you can throw anti-vehicle grenades off of the horse while you're riding. It's pretty difficult to aim these things, especially if you're going up against a moving vehicle, but it can be a fun way to get some cool vehicle takedowns. You do, however, want to check your key bindings when doing so, as I bind a different key to grenade throw while infantry, and on horse it wasn't rebound, so you'll have to go into controls and rebind your grenade throw for horse as well. Now, while shooting your bolt action rifle off of the horse, you cannot aim down sights with it to get like sort of an iron sight look. It is fairly accurate, but not perfectly accurate, so it can be a little bit annoying at times when you start missing shots that you feel were perfectly aimed. Sometimes I just prefer switching to the scimitar, which is a single swipe kill. You'll also get plenty of road kills, as your horse will just straight up run people over. And this is actually kind of an effective tactic if they try and run to the other side of your horse to dodge the scimitar swing. You can often just road kill them instead. Now, in order to fire the bolt action rifle off of the horse, you cannot be sprinting. You just have to be at the horse's trotting speed, or whatever you want to call it. And that's the only way you can shoot the rifle. And it can be a little bit tricky sometimes when you're trying to shoot the rifle and it's not giving you the crosshairs. You have to slow it down before you can take the shot. Some people were also confused, thinking that you could swing your scimitar off of the other side of the horse. If you press C, it actually changes your camera's position in the third person, which would indicate that maybe you could swing the sword from the other side of the horse. horse. Well, you can't do this. In fact, I think you could at one point during some version of the game, and I believe the developers thought it was too powerful and took it out for balance reasons. And I can absolutely understand this reasoning, as now that I have more experience with the cavalry unit, I can see just how powerful it can be when fighting purely infantry on the battlefield. However, I believe there will be alternate loadouts for the cavalry unit, so just like tanks and airplanes, before you spawn in on your horse, you might be able to pick a different weapon loadout. As we saw in some of the trailers, there's people shooting their pistols off of the horse, so there might be a cavalry unit that has a faster firing, like revolver style weapon, which would be very cool. And I think it would be awesome if they gave one with dynamite that you could throw off the horse and kind of make it more effective at taking out vehicles. Although not having dynamite stick to vehicles anymore is going to make that considerably more difficult. We also know that you'll be able to change the look of your horse, as there was already a few pre-order bonuses there, but also I got my cavalry guy ranked up to rank 2, and it did unlock a different horse skin, although I wasn't able to actually access that within game. It showed me sort of unlocking that, and I can check it out on battlefield.com, but not equip it. Now, should you find yourself in close quarter combat with the cavalry unit while you're dismounted, just running around as infantry, one of the most effective ways to take out your enemy is with your sidearm. I particularly like the 1911. You will get the other faction sidearm depending on which team you're playing for when you spawn in the cavalry unit, but basically handguns are significantly more effective than they used to be in previous Battlefield games, simply because most other weapons have gotten a nerf, and the 1911 can 3-shot kill somebody in close quarters without a headshot, so it's incredibly effective. Don't underestimate it. Also, you still have a saber as your melee weapon, which is really fun to do takedowns with, and you're such a tanky class that you can basically just charge up to somebody and melee them to death. Although you do have to watch out, as an easy way to get insta-killed is being meleeed from behind by an enemy class. You can also be insta-killed by other cavalry units charging you down with their scimitars. There are certain areas that you can just instantly die with this class. Also, vehicles, for that matter, are basically a big no-no. You don't want to get shot at by a tank or a bomber or anything like that. They'll kill you pretty fast. And if you're fighting an elite cavalry unit or any of the other hero classes, be sure to use your grenade as soon as possible. You're not going to be able to kill them fast enough with your primary weapon most of the time, so get that grenade out there, as it will do considerable damage to the hero units. Now, one way to sort of exploit one of the beta's bugs, and that I've been having a bit of fun with, is the fact that ammo packs, both if you're playing the support class or the cavalry class, will recharge your grenade instantly. So you can throw down ammo packs and throw a second grenade, a third grenade, a fourth grenade pretty much instantaneously after the first few. So basically, if you run into a vehicle that's in kind of a weird situation where you have enough time to throw a lot of grenades at it, you can absolutely solo down tanks and heavy armor, provided that they're not returning fire. You do have to be careful, but it's pretty funny just having an unlimited supply of grenades. Also, anti-vehicle grenades do work really well against infantry. They won't one-shot an infantry, I don't think, for the most part, unless it's like a direct hit. But basically, you can do something like 80% of their damage with it. So if somebody's hiding behind a rock after taking a little bit of damage, throw your anti-vehicle grenade over there. You can replenish it instantaneously, so you may as well use it. Now, when it comes to mobility on horseback, it takes a little while getting used to. You can actually stop the horse pretty much dead in his tracks. You do a big rearing animation, and you do this by just holding back when you're running forward. It'll stop the horse. You can kind of turn it around on point. It does make you fairly vulnerable, but if you just need to straight up stop the movement of your horse, this is an effective way to do it. The horse will also automatically jump over a lot of objects in the game. The one thing I don't like about this mechanic, though, is that it's not always predictable when the horse is going to jump over a wall or not. And I've jumped over one wall and then tried to jump over the same exact wall a second time, and the horse didn't do it. And it's gotten me killed a few times. So you might want to practice around the movement of your horse and figure out when it's going to jump, when it's not going to jump, and what might contribute to a horse jumping or not jumping. It's a fun mechanic, but I think DICE needs to iron out a few little things on it just so that the movement becomes a little bit more predictable. The animation of the horse is incredible, though, and for a multiplayer game, having a horse look this realistic and integrated so somewhat flawlessly to the game is really, really impressive. Now, my recommendations for mounted combat would be to keep it out in the open as much as possible. Give your horse some breathing room. You're fast, you're agile, you can get out of combat when you need to. So don't get boxed into a city or an area with lots of walls that's going to trip up your horse. However, when you dismount, you basically want the exact opposite. You want to be in building combat. You want to be able to duck into windows in areas where you're not going to be taking fire and heal up. You can stay alive for a long time if you stick to the city as just the infantry component. Anyway, I hope this video helps you guys to maximize your kills while on the horse and understand the differences between just being a regular infantry on a horseback and the elite cavalry. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.